Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated with a very paranoid Kira the Cruel of Newfoundland and Labrador, possibly a bit too paranoid. At the end of the last episode, I thought there was an assassination attempt on her life. It is actually a claim the throne attempt, which is bad, but not as bad as somebody trying to kill me. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the countermeasure focus, because it's actually giving a fairly hefty minus 30. I think we've gone with redouble the guards. So that was giving minus 30 to Glory Hound vassal opinion, so some vassals were very upset with that. But I am still worried about the fact that there was somebody within the court plotting against me, and I was thinking of removing my personal physician and caravan master, Inasha, who absolutely hates me. She's pretty much the main culprit, I think. She's responsible for the attempts against the throne, but we can arrest her because she's a criminal. Now, I'm going to try and arrest her. Even if we fail, it doesn't make a difference. It will get her to leave the court, and I won't get a penalty for removing her as our physician. Also, at the end of the last episode, our son Cecil's mother-in-law, the Duchess of Catskill, passed away. We're now going to form a new alliance with his brother-in-law and his 2,200 troops, because we badly need troops and alliances. Because there is still a tremendous amount of work to be done if we want to form the Empire of Canada, and at the moment, the two greatest threats to achieving that goal are Kira's health and our vassals. Here is a Liberty faction with 8 members, some of them who absolutely despise me. Many of these are chieftains, and what I need to do is start creating duchies to put them in and make them somebody else's problem. So that's going to be a lot of money spent there. I'm also going to need to hold a lot of feasts to try and make these people happy. If we see some of the reasons that they're unhappy, offensive war, minus 36, and we still have multiple wars to go. At the moment, the biggest issue that I'm facing, so these guys are too weak to send an ultimatum, but this guy is going to be in a position. Duke Alistair, the son of Duchess, or Banduke, Rose, who ate some poisonous plants by mistake. Sure, it happens to all of us. So she passed away. She rebelled against us. Now, this lad is on the verge of rebelling. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to appoint him as our new marshal, at least briefly, to try and get him to turn that frown upside down. Now here in Penobscot, which has taken over Tiramara, we have Duke Reggie, who is 74 and in poor health. And if he dies, this entire region will split apart. Now he has, at the moment, 39 gold, and I have an idea of what he's trying to do. Let's pick a duchy. I think it's maybe this one. So this is part of the Kingdom of the Maritimes. He only needs 30% of the counties to form this kingdom, but he needs 500 gold, which I'm sure, well, we've just seen he doesn't have. I have it, though. So Kira will proclaim herself as the matriarch of the Clan of the Maritimes. This now gives us the 2 kingdom titles that we need to form the Empire of Canada, and when this region splits apart, it will give us claims on all of the duchies, which will hopefully make it easier to get some of these people to vassalize, to accept vassalization, or at least it'll make it easier to declare war on them. And indeed, we have actually managed to capture our caravan master, Inasha, who is also our personal physician. We're getting news that a faction has formed against us. There we go. So Alistair is going to be in a position to push an ultimatum in 8 months, unless we get him to stop hating us. He is terrified of us, though. He's intimidated. Maybe we should terrify him a bit. Now we need a new court physician, and that title is going to go to Patriarch Tyler Staffney, a random voodoo man who Kira married for his very high intrigue skills. So he's 53, he's in poor health, but possibly if we appoint him as our court physician, it might improve. He's hungry. God damn it, man. Eat something. And for Caravan Master, here is Dewey. So Dewey actually led the peasant revolt that was sparked off by Alistair's mother. And we captured him and recruited him and made him our groundhog keeper. He hates me, but we'll also make him the Caravan Master. I think he and Inasha may have been part of the plot to seize the throne. And it's terrible that after all the dedicated service Inasha has given to the kingdom, that Kira, in a fit of paranoia and rage, is going to have her tortured. We might gain some dark insights. We might gain some of the secrets of Freemasonry. Inasha's torture has managed to scare some people out of the Liberty faction. Masson has arrived now that we sacked him to try and placate Alistair, but also the torture session, we didn't learn any of the secrets of Freemasonry. But thankfully it didn't kill her. It was the captivity that killed her, not the torture. What better way to follow up a good torture session than with a grand rite? Kira's son Cecil has invited her to his little island fortress at the moment. I am waiting down. I'm trying to get the army back up to full capacity, or near enough to full capacity, get that malice for the offensive wars down a small bit, and also get some more money together. As the full moon rises on the grand rite, we have the ability to either experiment with herbs with our son Cecil, or gain an intrigue lifestyle perk from his guest Blair, a giant witch. We will ask Blair to instruct us in the arts of scheming. And with that perk, I think I'm going to take Truth is Relative, enabling us to fabricate hook schemes. And Find Secrets may also fabricate hooks. And I think that's what we're going to have to try and do, is fabricate hooks on as many of our vassals as possible. It took me a while to try and figure out who this man was. Helmar II has shaved. I got a pop-up that he had converted, or that he had changed cultures, and he shaved as a part of that. Dude, I had no idea who I was looking at, because here's his father, and he had a big beard like his father. Now look at him. Well, what we're going to do is we are going to fabricate a hook on him. He's not exactly the most powerful of our vassals, but all the same, we need to knock every chunk of enemy soldiers out of these wars. So we'll probably just get some random people that will accept. We have fairly high intrigue ourselves, so we should be able to push this up. There's Liliana, the Heartbreaker, our cousin and sister-in-law. And you know what? That's enough. We have arrived home from our trip to Cecil, and we have gotten a good chunk of money together due to the death of a family member. We inherited a county over here, which I've shoved off to our cousin Claude. So we inherited this county, put us over our domain limit. I'm going to give Claude the entire duchy at one stage, once we create it. But first, we're going to use that money to hold a feast in Montreal. We have the highest level of dish complexity for the most prestige, and the highest number of courses, an exorbitant number of courses, to gain the most courtly vassal opinion. Our honorary guest is going to be a very interesting character, Chief Leo of Avalon. His mother, Lynn Corrigan, started the last civil war against Kira, and then jumped ship just before it ended. So he has inherited 7 counties. He has just come of age. He absolutely hates me. And we're going to try and befriend Antoinette, the daughter of Zachary. We actually recently discovered that a cousin of ours had Zachary murdered. So Zachary was one of Prince Sewell's sons, I believe. Sewell, the famous naked general. And then, once that's done, we're heading for Niagara Falls. There's a couple of other areas around here, but there's lots of plague and lots of devilment. So we're just going to get this done for now and try and stave off a few rebellions. We also received the news that our daughter Deborah, our giant daughter Deborah, comes of age. The problem is there isn't very many alliances to be formed right now, so it's entirely possible that I'm going to try and marry her off to one of my more troublesome vassals, and hopefully kick somebody else out of some factions, and we've more people that are going to start coming into factions. That's been the major problem, is we had a lot of people who could not join factions until 2769, and some of them are now making their way in here. Now let's see if we are going to be in a position to form a hook on this beardless divil. We will seize the moment. And we managed to interfere with some servants. I thought we were forming a hook. Oh, we got a hook on him. Well, this is a very interesting and bizarre scenario. Reggie has died, and Penobscot has not fully broken apart as I expected it would. Duchess Alexandra, his daughter, has control over a significant region. There are a few areas that have split off. Only one of which has the intelligence to accept vassalization if we offer them low vassal obligations. And we've just seen somebody enter the Liberty faction, but it has fallen below the point needed to push an ultimatum. We've had to remove Alistair as our marshal, so he's upset, but he's in no way able to push a rising either. That's largely because we're getting our army back together and keeping those numbers up, while also fighting wars. That's going to be problematic. Speaking of problematic, here's a 16-year-old child sculling pints. And unfortunately, one person who's not going to be at the feast is our dear friend Grandmaster Tasker, the Grandmaster of the Children of the Moving Tide, the holy order that has been of so much use to us and will be of so much use to us in the future. Now comes the time to toast the guest of honor, and while I would like to either gain 75 prestige for myself, Chief Leo will lose 20 opinion. He doesn't have 20 opinion to lose. We're going to have to toast this 16-year-old. Look at this, synchronized drinking. We've been practicing this all night. And with that, the feast is done. Courtly vassals gain 25 opinion. Non-courtly vassals gain 15 opinion. We gain a good chunk of prestige. And some legitimacy, which we badly need. It's going to make wars... I think it makes wars cheaper. It makes the number of counties I need to form the empire slightly smaller. We have managed to drive most of the powerful vassals out of the Liberty faction. Now it's actually being led by Germain, who has just arrived, just accepted vassalization, but is still unhappy with the amount of offensive wars. Unfortunately, we're going to have to continue. Penobscot did not break up as much as I would have liked. This duchy, he has 400 troops, will not accept vassalage. We're going to have to declare war to seize the duchy. And while we're at it, this lad has one ally with 700 troops. We are going to declare war. No real need to do it, but I have hired the Children of the Moving Tide under Grandmaster Tannen and pull them in. As we are being blackmailed by Lisette the Shy of the Wolves of St. Bridget. She will tell everyone of our relationship with Sherman Belbruno. I didn't think that was secret. She will gain a blackmail hook on us. What could the devil do with blackmail? I'm going to decline. To hell with you. So, we are now known as an adulterer. We lose, and you see, that's the worst thing, is we lose legitimacy. So, Fog Song opinion, -5. Adulterers will like me, though. Well, this is a rather interesting state of affairs. What has happened is that... Has Penobscot taken over the regions that I'm at war with? I don't think so. They have. I'm at war with Penobscot. And we also discovered that that idiot son of mine was trying to assassinate, you know what, somebody who was part of a faction, so fair play to you. So what was meant to be a fairly straightforward encounter has now escalated massively and has required me to call in my allies from up north and from Maine. We have some enemy forces wandering around in all sorts of peculiar directions, just as we gain that last stewardship lifestyle perk, administrator, +1 diplomacy, +3 stewardship, and some rats. And I think what we're going to have to do, it could be a good idea to head for diplomacy, try and get foreign affairs focus to actually improve our standing with our own people. It's going to take a long time to push down and get diplomat or anything like that. It would be maybe a bit more helpful than matriarch. But what we'll do is start going down fitness expert. We'll go for the medicine focus because we need to keep Kira alive. In the midst of this war, our daughter, Leia, has come of age and has been married off to Coolidge Fitzbeckham, who she has been betrothed to for quite a while, to secure that marriage, or that alliance, with our cousin and sister-in-law, Liliana the Heartbreaker. Now here we have a very interesting figure. Chieftain Hreal of Halifax. He hates me. So he's somebody that we forced to convert. He's over here in this region, and we forced him to convert to Fogsong, but he still absolutely hates me. Now, he is scheming against me to seize the throne. We will throw him in jail. Now, his health is already poor, and it would be terrible if something was to happen to him, especially as Kira would inherit his county. Oh, so sad. We have inherited the chiefdom of Halifax. Oh, poor Real. Died in captivity. So I could have revoked his county while he was in prison, but that would have made me a tyrant. I wouldn't want that. Nova Scotia is a troublesome place, to say the very least. The first thing I will do is create the duchy title. And while I could actually continue holding Halifax, like I said, this is a troublesome region, I'm going to hand it off to Ella NaGeira, a member of the family. She has a daughter, Sheila, of House NaGeira, and she has the fornicator trait, which means that she really likes me. She's also a witch. So there we go, +10, also fornicator. We will grant her the title of Halifax and Nova Scotia. You deal with these people. Now we have a bit of a crazy state of affairs here. Maine's army, where's Maine's army heading to? It's heading out in this direction for some reason. It's following the Holy Order. There should be 2 here. It's following the Holy Order and one of our armies, which I am going to land down here and bring them up to face these guys. Actually, both of they're about to complete that siege, so they will probably move down in that direction. So we'll bring them to here, so they can end the disembarkation penalty, and then march them up the coast to fight Penobscot. And Maine has decided that it's going to follow them all the ways down. Maine has no idea what it's doing. And we've received the news that Eric III has died. Now, this is a bit of a nuisance. They're marching away, so what I suppose we could do, you know what, while we're here, it would be rude not to, is begin sieging back these areas. Our poor husband, Tyler Staffney, is dying. We'd better summon the personal... oh, he is the personal physician. Be cautious. Do no more than is necessary. There's a bad bout of influenza going around at the moment. We're a bit low on money. And here comes Tannen with a request to buy a city. Absolutely. For 900 quid, fair play to you. Praise be to Brother Jack. Now, if Brother Jack could just help me with this little issue here, that would be fantastic. Charlotte, this is nothing to be... no, don't concern yourself with this. This is fine. Ella's a good woman. Ella's a good woman. Penobscot is going out to see what it can see. I imagine it's going to come up here. And so I have brought one of my forces that was raiding. I've brought them up to prep for that. There we go. We're going to continue sieging here. We have some forces. It's going to take them a while to wind their way around. I think they've committed. I think they've landed. So if we can catch somebody... We have one war taken care of. That's actually the war against New Brunswick. So yeah, the break apart of Penobscot was not gone as well as I expected. We are bringing our forces in up here. I would be hoping that we have enough to hit them, especially with the disembarkation penalty. So what would we want to do with our main siege army? Bring it over here? In case the war continues. But we'd be hoping that we can get enough forces in. We're holding on as our troops come through. Dewey! Dewey has been slain, our groundhog keeper. Oh no, we have to tell the groundhogs. It is an ancient Celtic tradition that on the death of an important figure or on a death of an important ruler, you tell the groundhogs. You put a little black ribbon around their hive to tell them that their groundhog keeper has died. Now, we have unfortunately been hit by a surprise army. I'm unsure if we can win that, and if we have any allies actually coming in to help. Maine is getting in very slowly, and there's another larger army coming in. I think we might just be able to hold until... That was close. That was a bit too close. Oh, these devils. I've no idea where that army emerged out of. It is, however, enough to bring the war to an end. All that effort for just 4 counties. We've inherited a ton of land, so I've had to start handing out a ton of land. I've given Antigonish, which we've held for a very long time, to somebody up here. Melville, which we've held for ages, I have given to a vassal in Alexis. And I was hoping to keep the 3 counties of this duchy to myself. We're going to have to hand one of them out, though. So the smallest of the counties... Don't tell me it's actually the capital. Is it? It's not. I hope it's not. It's not now anyway. We're giving this to our lover, Sherman Belbruno, who likes us because we're also a fornicator. So you can have Fundy. We're in a position to pick up our first learning lifestyle perk. We'll go for fitness expert. Now, I would like to keep the wars going. There is a small baby on this island who has 2 counties, and I would like to go to war for them. The penalty that our vassals are suffering at the moment is -41 because of offensive wars, and we have 15 counties that we need to conquer in Quebec, Lower Quebec. The truce will be ending with them in 18 months, which will allow us to go to war with them. And we have to put together 15 counties between these 2 regions and across here. So we'll have to go back to war with Penobscot, who we now have a truce with, unfortunately, and Baby Island, Island Baby. Hi, Chiefess Celine. Plotting against me, be grateful that you don't have lands that I want. We will let the traitor be known. We have a much more important task than dealing with her, and that is trying to find a new caravan master. We have Dermot, who is excellent. We have to pay him 97 quid. Morgan, who is terrible. That's not great. So Morgan or Dermot Way, who is of the Fog Song faith, and we do need more Fog Songers. We'll hire Dermot. And the reason that we need a new caravan master is that we are going to hold a hunt to hopefully get some positive opinion with our vassals to knock down that negative, because I do want to go to war with that baby and a few other people. Once we have visited Yarmouth for a hunt, we're heading down to Augusta. There's a great fire temple where we will get, hopefully, 150 learning lifestyle experience. I'm bringing a substantial party, all courtiers and guests, and more prestige on completion. And I'm not really pushed about the success chance. We're also going to try and befriend Germaine, because I want to convert her to Fog Song. And maybe we've arrived at a bad time. Ella has had to call in the Children of the Moving Tide to deal with a Liberty War. You see, look, I told you, I don't want to be dealing with these lads. And indeed, what terrible timing it is. We receive the news that Patriarch Tyler, a random voodoo man, my honeycomb that we married for his very high intrigue, has died. At least the memories remain, the memories of what I thought was an assassination attempt. I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't gotten married already, but we're going to make sure that this devil and his 2,500 troops don't cause us any trouble in future. Hi, Chief Leo. While he's blind drunk, we'll get our giant of a daughter to flirt with him and propose marriage. Well, we've managed to catch something on the hunt. It is not, however, a lynx. Antoinette is caught in a trap. So we can either leave her, or a 77% chance that we manage to help her and improve our standing with her, which is fantastic, because she's one of the powerful vassals that's been causing trouble for us. The lynx appears to have escaped. Clever girl. And we have just discovered the final member of the plot to try and seize the throne just after Tyler passed away. That scheme has now collapsed, just like our hunt has. There's our very unimpressed son and tutor. We're going to gain some prestige. We gain opinion with every glory hound vassal. We had 2. It's something. We spend some time with Chiefess Germaine, who we should now be in a position to convert. We even had a hook on her that we haven't used, or we had an indebted hook. Maybe it's actually run up, but we should be able to get her to convert. And even though we have just left the hunt, we're going to have to go back to war with a very big baby, Albert of Upper Quebec, who is down to 2,500 troops. So he's actually lost a number of wars and is losing another, I believe. We're going to declare war for this duchy here. We have Walter, and we have Ole, who is of the Fog Song faith. So I know for a fact that he has a claim on the High Chiefdom of Upper Ottawa. And indeed, just as she dons her mask, Germaine has followed us into the Fog Song faith. And I'm now trying to convert Duke Alistair. I'm trying to befriend him. Well, I'm trying to sway him. I might try and make a friend out of Germaine at some stage. Now, because of our low prestige, we're not actually in a position at the moment to bring in very many of our allies. We're bringing in 1. We have learned some secrets about our very elderly and sick sister-in-law, steward and vassal, Munich, one of our great military commanders. So great indeed that I will actually put her in charge of the siege weaponry heading for Renfrey. And here's an interesting development. Just as we're about to start this war, our Marshal Masson, the insubordinate, he truly was a populist leader who we gave a county to after we forced him to convert. He converted to Old Fog Song though, or maybe it was an Old Fog Song uprising. And he actually got a guarantee that he didn't have to convert, so he's one of the last Old Fog Song holdouts. Now we have to weigh up who we want to keep happy and who is actually useful. And to help with our attempts to bring him on side, do you know what? I'm going to assign Alistair. So that makes him a good chunk happier. We won't try and convert him just yet, but you know what? We're getting fairly close. I don't want him to start demanding money from me. And actually, we're in a position where we need to appoint a new personal physician. Everyone is terrible. I'm surprised Agricola is terrible, probably because he's infirm. And so we will give it to our witchy chaplain, Duncan. On our way back from the hunt and from a visit to a temple, Kira delays to look at the wreckage of a ship and finds an ancient scarab brooch, one which will bestow a small health boost upon its wearer. Well, damn it, on two different fronts. First of all, we're called into a war to help Drake of Catskill with his Liberty War. We'll have to accept. And the other thing is that this region here has split off from the duchy that we're attacking, just as our allies were about to conquer it, so that's not great. We see Upper Quebec moving 1,700 troops around as our court poet writes about a simple autumn in my dreams, and we are heading in against Hudsonia, who've started to attack us as part of Drake's Liberty War against them. We managed to drive them back, and we have to go all the ways back in that direction again. There is where Upper Quebec landed its armies. The good news is that Alistair will hopefully accept conversion, and that will get rid of some of the hefty minuses that we have. Oh god, look at this place. We have a couple of things of interest here. First of all, Gina, who's off somewhere. We're going to start trying to sway her. If we take a look at Germain, our good friend... Oh no, what happened? Germain was slain in battle. I've no idea what battle, or hopefully it wasn't one of the ones that we were involved in. So, a small baby is in charge. Thankfully, Germain had converted to Fogsong beforehand. We now have a big old heap of regions. Penobscot has split apart again. I don't think we're in a position to offer vassalage because we are at war. They will consider it. They will consider it. Actually, I think they will all consider it. So, Duchess Leia of Nouveau-Brunswick. And I was saying I was going to sway Gina. We're actually going to sway Leopoldine. It's very hard. And what about the baby? The baby, god damn it, baby. Fair play to Drake, he's actually taken the capital of Hudsonia. Uh-oh, we got some factions forming. With any luck, we're going to get a pincer movement on Upper Quebec. They're heading out to sea. Not fast enough, you divil. And we've managed to capture the man, the myth, the legend. I don't know, can I revoke land from him? Could I force him to convert? We won't think too much about this. We will enforce our demands. And we can't stand down the armies yet. It's 100% war score. There we go. And that is goddamn frustrating. The Duke of Penobscot has somehow taken this county here, you absolute divil. Oh, what's gone on here? We have formed an alliance with Duke Drake of the Burning Harriers. He has 300 troops. What have you done, you silly divil? There's Catskill. It was destroyed. Why? Hudsonia lost a war against... Oh well, there we go. Oh, hell's bells. There is a great parley for Upper Quebec. The infallible Pontiff, Tipsicaw, a vassal in the High Kingdom of Thunderland, is prepping a crusade. I'm unsure if I'm the target. This is me. Right, well, the bad news is we are indeed the target. The good news is that the Pope has only been able to get together, one of many people calling themselves the Pope, has only been able to get together 102 troops. I'm going to find out who has those 102 troops. Who is it? It's the man himself. By whatever Christ you worship, if I find you. We've just managed to sway Leopoldine, is it enough? Just barely. And now the only thing left to take complete control of the Kingdom of the Maritimes is Eel Saint Baby. And Baby will not accept, foolishly, will not accept vassalization. We will declare war. And we are told that we are pledged in a great holy war. Well, do you know what? We'll attack anyway. We have hit the armies, and unfortunately, I think one of our courtiers has died in that combat. We did have the disembarkation penalty. We're sieging down their 2 areas, and it's going to take a while. And the bad news is, for as much as we laughed at him, this devil has gotten some troops together, and he's going to launch his crusade in 8 months. Bad timing for a civil war to break out amongst some of our vassals. We're on the verge of taking the capital of Baby Island. I don't know, they surely haven't declared this crusade, you absolute fools. Damn and blast you to hell. May the twins, Fingol and Glooscap, protect us. Well, the good news is we've seized Baby Island. What is this lunatic at? This is the region that he's from. This is all that's declared war on us, and this is where they're attacking. To make things even better, the idiot is dying. I've started a plot to murder him. I don't know if it's going to succeed. We're seeing some of Upper Quebec's forces sailing out. What do we have here? They have a bit of a rebellion. The reason I'm getting paranoid is because the Pope, the infallible Pope, was somewhere around here. According to the information that we get on him, he's located in Stonewall. I don't think he's moving. And while we're planning one funeral, we might as well attend another. Padraig Mac Lenore of Ord Tholov. It's not much of a journey away from the capital, and you know what? We'll keep it plain and simple. We won't go adventuring around the place with the threat that we are currently facing. So it's actually Sheila's funeral. We're greeted by Padraig. So who was this? His... no idea. We'll never forget her, whoever she was. Oh, there she is, on the boat, sailing out to the crusade. And here's an absolutely terrible update. Myrtle has been savaged by a lion. This is the wife of Helmar II, who absolutely hates us. We gave a good chunk of territory to her. So Huntingdon, who has that gone to now? Her son, who is not of the Fog Song faith. He's actually even of a different faith to his mother and his father. Teenagers. Now, we have some good news, which is that the Pope is dead. Without that murder plan actually being carried off. And we're now at 7% war score. I'm not too sure why, but I did see the beginnings of an army sailing in this direction. I don't care about the crusade. I don't care about the death of Tyler Staffney. I don't care about Myrtle. The only person I ever cared about was a cat, and they have died. For 16 quid, we will skin him and stuff him and hang him up in the court. Also not great timing, we've received the news that our steward, and I think the only person who knew how to operate siege weaponry, Munich, has passed away. We have some people, some powerful vassals that we need to give something to. Sabrina, to keep you happy, you're not great. We'll put you in there. Because you have a lot of troops, you're worrying me. So is this it? 3,800 troops. But what are they attacking? Because I don't think this place is even involved in the war. And this does indeed look like the main army. This is where it has landed. It is heading into San Maurice. So we will have to pick up our army and send them in to face them and hope that all of our various allies follow. 600 troops have gotten in. They're getting into the area first of all. I think they're defending at a river crossing. They have gotten in about 11,000 troops. I think we're bringing in about 16. We have a slight advantage over them. We're bringing our numbers in slowly but surely. There's some hefty allies of ours to come in yet. They got there. Took a while. Our Screecher, Peggy Lush, has injured somebody with the same name as the former Pope. We arrive home in the midst of this battle. And we've sent the devils packing. And this is rather unusual. One of their main army has actually started to retreat into our territory. So are you going to have to go all the ways back? The long way round. I hope you do. That would be fantastic. Where are you going? The great thing is that the war score is ticking up. It was 66% after that battle. It's ticking up. So hopefully by the time they get back home and turn around and come back, it will be at 100. And it's now that we're beginning to see threats of coups against us. We've lost a huge amount of money having to keep the army standing during this war. Our numbers are depleting, and there is a peasant rabble that is demanding lower county control. We've attended another grand rite, this time held by Ella, who I gave Nova Scotia to, and she has taught us another intrigue lifestyle perk. We'll go for Dreadful, for the Dread Gain. We haven't seen one of these in a while. A fairly strong Liberty faction. Antoinette, I'm disappointed in you. And we have a couple of other very unhappy people. It's mostly because we're over the domain limit. I've been waiting to try and get this war over and done with before I start handing out the property of Baby Island. These absolute devils have taken 4 counties off of me. 3 to 4 counties. They've taken a duchy. A random fog songer in our court. I'm going to grant her Baby Island. And the goddamned idiots. What was the point of that? We have potentially a rebellion in Montreal. That is where the peasant rabble is going to spark off in 2 months' time. And these guys, thankfully, are in no position to issue an ultimatum. And indeed, Antoinette has actually left now that we've given away Baby Island. At 67 years of age, Kira is in good health, and if she lives as long as her grandmother, I think she has about another 20 years in which to get back that land that Penobscot has taken from us and to take the remaining counties needed to form the Empire of Canada, unless there's another crusade. But to make sure, we are going to change our patron to the 3 women in white who will give us a medium health boost and increased life expectancy of 10 years. Now, I was about to get very angry and start planning a war against Penobscot. However, after multiple wars against us, we're very close to being able to offer the Duke vassalization. So I've actually abandoned the attempts to sway his sister and get her to convert to Fogsong, and I'm instead going to try and sway the Duke of Penobscot and possibly bring in the entire area in a desperate bid to bring the Duke of Penobscot on board. He's on the verge. It's -11 to accepting vassalization. I've started trying to sway him. I'm actually going to give him a gift of 150 gold, which brings him up to +27. And if we offer him vassalization, again, like other members of his family, he will just about accept. So that will knock out the need to go to a war for this region, and also there's actually an additional county down here that we need to form the Empire of Canada, so that will also come in. And here we go with these damn rebels. We're raising our forces probably more than needed just outside Montreal. Penobscot has indeed accepted vassalization, so we now have way more territory than we ever imagined. We'll put down this rebellion and we will see where that leaves us. 5 counties and 525 gold is what we are short to form the Empire of Canada. We can get that money together fairly quickly, I would hope. But finding somewhere with 5 counties, could we be so lucky? Unfortunately, we cannot go to war with Upper Quebec. They don't have anywhere that we could go for anyway. But Lower Quebec has a substantial army, 11,000 to our 19, and if we were to declare a war for Chiefess Leopoldine's claims to this region, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counties. We're calling in every single one of our allies, even though it is putting us into a massive prestige deficit, including our new ally, the High Chief of Driftless, who we have married our son Sidrak out to his daughter to organize an alliance for his 1,700 troops. So at the moment, it's Maine up north and Driftless. Drake in Catskill has about 300 troops, and there's no point spending all that prestige to try and bring him in. In charge of the army with the siege weaponry, we will put Chiefess Shushan, who is the daughter of Masson, who passed away a few years ago. I'm going to split this army, and I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with them. Our court chaplain Duncan has been converting various different places to Fogsong. There is some old Fogsong holdouts, but we're going to focus on the very last remembrant area. This was the religion of Tiaramata, so there's still a couple of Ursuline around the place. We're seeing a 3.5k army coming up in this direction. Never mind, it has now become 7,000. We have our allies. We have Maine at the very least. And there actually comes up north, so there's going to be a substantial battle in this region once people start getting in there. So we're all teaming up, I think, on the small army that was there. The one that Lower Quebec itself is actually at war with. So there's a hefty defeat for them. Now they've just sent their army up north, so it's entirely possible that they'll head up in this direction. They've gone back to the city and they're heading up, so it's entirely possible they'll start raiding down or sieging areas down there, which is going to be problematic for us. Never mind, they're coming back down. So we have some allies around that aren't fully committing. We're all running around in circles. I'm hoping that we can keep this army there. That my allies will come in and do enough damage that we can keep the siege going, because we need to actually start taking places from them. So this is what it's going to be. They're going to send their army up. They're going to hit the capital, get into the water, swim all the ways down, and try and hit our forces here again. No, this time they're staying away from the water. They're actually in a position to do a tremendous amount of damage right now. They could have swept in and hit this army, but we would have caused them a lot of damage. They've just gone into the ocean for no reason. We've managed to take 1 county from them with our 2 victories. That puts us on 64%. Our allies are sieging down some places, but I'm sure they're going to abandon that to come down and hit this army for a 3rd time. Now we're going to be going in piecemeal to hold them in place. One of our territories is under siege. There we go. This is what I was talking about. They finally decided to stop actually attacking us. We'll see if we can take this region, or possibly we could actually send the other two armies that aren't doing a whole heap. We could send them up. And indeed our hefty allies follow them, as our main army remains behind with the siege weaponry. It would be fantastic if we managed to frighten them away from there. There we go. So we've caught them, held them in place. We're at 90% war score with this conquest over here. Will this be enough to complete the territorial part of the conquest of Canada? No. Now, unfortunately, I got very excited. I thought we were getting close to the completion of the conquest of Canada. We are, but there's actually only 2 counties here. This very large area I mistook for a number of different counties. So, if we can complete this conquest, we still have 3 counties to try to gain. And we have another large independence faction that is getting angry at the fact that we're up to 42, minus 42 for an offensive war penalty. So Antoinette, I think I'm going to have to make her my... I don't know what I'm going to have to make her. This guy actually has a slightly larger army. So I'm going to make him my steward, Chief Hewitt. So Sabrina is in there at the moment. So that has knocked him out of the independence faction, and hopefully we can bring this war to an end. We're at 95%. They're bringing down their troops again. And hopefully either this battle, if one is fought, I don't think there will. We just managed to catch them. Either this battle or the final conquest that we're fighting here will bring it to an end. Nope. We're going to need to get this siege done. And there we are. Enforce our demands. Now, in a very complicated, roundabout way, we have managed to secure for Leopoldine the rule of the territories that were being ruled by her husband. So he actually still rules those 2 counties. And hopefully we can get her to convert. And possibly even get her husband to convert. As a thank you for all the work we've just done. And there we go. And her husband has also converted, and he is a Prince of Lower Quebec, a grandson of Helmar. I am certain we can get this done in one more war. We definitely can get this done in one more war. Kira is 70 years of age, and all we need is just 3 more counties and 480 more gold. But for now, we're going to have to go back to a waiting game to get these people to stop hating me. Due to our prestige deficit, most likely our last war will be a holy war, but we're going to have to wait a period of time to try and get the massive penalties, minus 44 for an offensive war. We're going to have to get those penalties down before we go for that final conquest. One of the many recent plagues that have afflicted our territories cost a good chunk of money to prevent us losing legitimacy. So we're waiting for our finances to come back up. We've been told that there is a dangerous faction, largely being driven by this misshapen divil. We have a couple of people in here. There's Sabrina again, upset that we removed her from her position, so we might have to try and keep juggling them back and forth. But while we're waiting for our finances to come back, we might as well attend the funeral. Well, it's not High Chief Claude. I'm not too sure who's dead. Somebody's dead. We'll go to his funeral. That's not his actual funeral. We have arrived at the funeral of Shinapet, as we've managed to do some damage to the Independence faction. We'll never forget Shinapet, yeah. Claude, our cousin, who we gave some land to, and we promised to give him a title. Claude, that's probably not happening. He asks if we knew Shinapet well. We have a 92% chance to gain 10 opinion with everyone at the funeral. Yeah. Sure. Now, we have managed to make a friend out of Sabrina, who I have reinstalled as my steward. We are now closer than ever. We are besties. So hopefully, that will allow me, for the second or third time, to remove our bestie. Would we want to put this lad in? Do you know what? I'm actually going to put this utterly useless. Look at this, a 2. He is terrible. I'm going to assign him as our new steward. Sorry, bestie. And another major problem that we have, so hopefully that's going to knock him out of the faction with his hefty amount of troops. Here is Chief Hewitt. We've had tremendous problems with this guy. He's ambitious. We're down to minus 35 for that offensive war. I'm going to try and... Dude, where's your hand? I'm going to try and befriend him as well. And there is Sabrina actually removed from the ability to start factions, so this is something I should have done a long time ago. But I have never had to deal with a malice of this size or duration before. Because trying to conquer 80-something, nearly 90 counties, this is a huge endeavour. In 2 lifetimes, really. And there we go, that misshapen divil has left the Independence faction as we return home from the funeral. And actually, as we returned from the funeral, our caravan master fell overboard. So, Marcy de Montreal, you divil, the peasant leader who led that last rebellion in Montreal, sure. You're our new caravan master. We're going to hold a feast. We're going to have the number of courses at the absolute max. The guest of honor is going to be Chieftain Helmar II, and we will attempt to befriend High Chief Hewitt of St. Lawrence, who I'm trying to befriend at the moment. And after we are finished, we will do our usual. We will visit Niagara Falls and wander down to Detroit and Brantford. This absolutely freaky divil has just converted. That's minus 28 cultural acceptance. You freaky divil. You hideously freaky divil. We arrive at the feast. Helmar, you shouldn't have shaved, man. You shouldn't have shaved. And as always, with the man that we're trying to befriend, we're going to have to agree that yes, we put on way too much food. So the main attempt to befriend him has frozen while we're attempting to befriend him at this party. We've grown closer to forming a friendship. And now we toast the man of the hour, the man, the myth, the legend, Chieftain Helmar. So we failed in our attempt to befriend Hewitt, so it's a good thing that we kept this scheme going. We gain opinion with our courtly and non-courtly vassals. We will finish the feast. And that has knocked a good chunk of people out of that Independence faction, including Hewitt, who we're trying to befriend. Well, do you know what? If it will stop him from going back into the faction, befriending him, then we can't complain. And look at this for an absolute alliance. Our friend Sabrina has married Eric Ironside. So Sabrina is our vassal. We've befriended her, so she's not demanding to be steward anymore. And this lad is steward. So about 3 people have held steward back and forth in desperate attempts to stave off an uprising. So he's already lost an arm. He looks to be as sick as a dog. He is indeed, but we have formed a friendship with Hewitt. And finally, with things somewhat stabilized, with no immediate threats on the horizon, there is a peasant uprising coming in 32 months. We are 3 counties short of forming the Empire of Canada. We are going to declare war on Upper Quebec. To gain control of, this time we're going to make sure, it's a 3-county province for our good friend Helmar II. I thought we would need to do a holy war, but you know what, we'll push his claim. Seems though he's our best buddy. Now I should probably have invited in Maine, as this is most likely, hopefully, going to be our last war, but we've gotten up north in instead, and fair play to them. They've taken a bit of a hit to their numbers and have gone forward to begin sieging down another area. There is the Children of the Moving Tide, and there is some place belonging to us under siege. We've taken control of one region. Our allies have taken another, so we can start to push forward. Our allies have actually started sieging down the remaining county. We might as well park ourselves there. There is hefty attrition. We're not making great headway on these sieges, and for whatever reason, the tiny army up here has lifted its siege. And how very appropriate. Kira's flu has hit a number of different places and has cast a shadow over Westmoreland. We've survived worse. But the finances required to rebuild the counties in the aftermath of these plagues has been quite hefty, due to the size of our holdings, so that could knock 300 or 400 off of what we have. We actually made some money returning home from the feast that we held. We found a derelict ship. It's going to terrify me. We're going to have to go with Know Thyself. When death of natural causes is a year away, we will receive a warning. Now, speaking of money, as we're not trying to sway anyone at the moment, what we can do, what we should do, is sway the Fisher King. He doesn't have the money to pay us yet, but you know what? We'll still sway him just to keep him happy, and to make sure that he is ready to give us a big heap of gold when he has it. We've managed to conquer the area that we're fighting for. That tiny army has come down again. This guy can still get 2,500 troops together, but I think he's fighting a couple of other wars at the moment. So I've stationed the besiegers there. We're going to fight 192 men. Our allies are following us. Thanks, guys. Thanks. We really need the help. I'm not too sure we can win this fight. And the worst thing is, if the 2,000 forces land now, they would indeed wipe out all our siege equipment. But thankfully, the Children of the Moving Tide are making good headway on Thurlow. Our hook on Ole has expired. Ole, who we conquered 2 out of 3 counties for. He's not looking great, the poor man. He is in poor health from botched disease treatment. The levels of disease that we have had around the place. The greatest disease, of course, being independence factions and rabbles. There is that peasant rabble. It's going to fire off in 12 months. We, however, will be enjoying ourselves at a hunt organised by one of our vassals. And indeed, if all goes well, that's where we could be when the good news arrives of our victory in this war. And we're told of a curse undone. Chieftess Bernadette. She gave us a cat and then absolutely hated us. And she has died. A member of many, many, many independence factions against us. We never really had to appease her in any way because she was a lowly chieftess, but she was always there, causing trouble. Her son Alfred has taken over. He doesn't hate me. That's good. Alfred, I like you. You're an improvement. We're up to 91% war score. It's kicking up without actually having conquered anywhere in a while. That 101 strong army is not strong enough to lift the siege. How many prisoners have died while we've been waiting to siege down areas? Because I didn't want to release anyone in case it messed with the war score. Enforce our demands. Don't be calling me evil. Because you'll be required to swear allegiance to me soon enough. After I've already done all of the hard work. Now my son Sidrak gives me alliance material. Tristram, or Tristram, may you grow to be strong and wise. It's entirely possible that Sidrak might succeed. Now, the great thing is that we've managed to bring that final war. Let's just make sure it was indeed our final war. There we have... Now we have 89 out of the 87 counties. We've probably... Somebody's gone off and started conquering land. Nobody was conquering land when I needed it. Now that I have everything, now they've gone off and started conquering land. So these numbers, we should be looking at minus 40. They're going to start to tick down, thankfully. The only thing we have left to deal with is this peasant rabble, and we need 70 quid. Dear God, but if we had to fight another war because we've lost control of these two counties, I would go mad. Alexander, so we fought the war for his wife's claim to these two regions. Well, Alexander has now become the ruler of Lower Quebec, so those two regions have now left. I'm not too sure what's going on over here. Poor owl Twin Crowns has been utterly ripped apart. So Drummond, somebody has conquered Drummond for us. That's new. And I think there's one or two areas up here as well that we technically need. And actually, I'm not too sure how it happened, but these two regions... These weren't part of the area that we declared war for, but we have managed these three regions, so they're actually what made up for the loss of this area. Oh God. Hell's bells. And like a fool, I have been sitting around without exploiting my greatest resource. Hostages. The feast is over. We have ransomed out a good chunk of hostages. We've gotten up to just over 1,000 gold. We now have 7 members in this faction, so this faction is growing. Somebody has decided to start raiding our territory way over there. There's not a whole heap that we can or that we want to do. Jinnah has been a thorn in our side for a very long time as well, constantly part of these factions. And so as Kira returns home from an absolute disaster of a hunt, we will thank Brother Jack that we can go back inside and we will declare and create the Empire of Canada. So great and powerful is Grand Matriarch Kira the Cruel that she doesn't even have a crown. I think we can find a fitting crown for her. The Maple Crown of Canada. But even with that upon her head, Grand Matriarch Kira, her health is poor. Even though everything is positive green, that is because she is 74 years of age. So I think it was a good thing that we went and got all those positive stats for her, because that has been a lengthy endeavour. Now, none of the potential vassals, Lower Quebec or Upper Quebec, will accept vassalization. We can, of course, usurp all of those titles. And I can't imagine what way the succession looks at the moment. There is our 45-year-old daughter, Kira. She's a recluse, baiting herself up. She was basically married out for a hefty alliance to up north. And that alliance was, it cost us a bit early on, but it was tremendously valuable, especially there actually in the final war. And she is in line to inherit the Grand Clan of Canada and the Clan of Newfoundland and Labrador and the Maritimes. I presume something is going to other members of the family. It would be something else if Haley was to get everything. And as we have declared ourselves the Empress, the Grand Matriarch, we begin to see this independence faction absolutely collapse. It was at the bare minimum, and now it's fallen apart. We're now up to 13,000 troops. That's another reason why it's absolutely falling apart. These silly devils are still planning to revolt in 2 months' time. But I think it's going to be a long time before the Grand Clan of Canada sees another civil war on the scale of the ones that NaGeira had to see off in the past. Now, there is still a tremendous amount of work to be done. There is a couple of holdouts, Lower and Upper Quebec, to be dragged kicking and screaming into the Empire. There's the succession itself to sort out. There's a number of kingdom titles. I have to start moving vassals here, there, and everywhere to try and sort things out. We need to see if we can form any new alliances now that things have changed dramatically. But I think it's fair to say that across the 2 lifetimes, the incredible lifetimes of Morgan and her granddaughter NaGeira, they have achieved enough to bring this series to an end. They have created the Empire of Canada, brought it from just a handful of provinces in the very northeast of Newfoundland. They have spread the word of Brother Jack and Fingal and Glooscap far and wide. There's still a lot of converting to Fogsong to be done, and there's a lot of cultural promotion, possibly even the creation of a unified Canadian culture. But like I said, I think it's fair to say that Morgan and NaGeira have enough work done, and we can allow NaGeira to retire to her throne and take her ease for the first time in a very long time, looking out upon Queen Morgan's cup and the hide of her beloved husband Cecil. Sorry, the cat. That's the cat Cecil. Sorry, no. Thank you for joining me on the series. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a long one, but we got there in the end. There was a lot of war, a lot more war than I've had to fight in any previous series. But like I said, we got there in the end, and thank you to those who have made it this far. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you all again in future.